Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the elite and some little common sense perspectives on it because I know in a lot of sections of the internet, on YouTube and everything, that people are always speculating about the elite, their powers, and what their plans are, and let's fight them and all this type of stuff. Um, in some ways, yes, I agree that, well, let me put it this way. Power-hungry people seem to have an endless appetite for more and more and more. It's like trying to fill a hollow void. So they will screw over people that are on a bottom level so they can get more. That's true. But are they actually necessarily that bright? No. No, they might be very bright in certain areas. And I'll give you an example. For instance, cancer cures. Like we know, we also talked many times about or seen stories where people took drops of marijuana oil and cured cancer with it. I mean, that's supposedly, oh no, that couldn't happen. But hey, it's been happening. It's been happening. Now, how come the elite die of cancer? How come the elite don't use these methods? How come the elites don't use, baking soda and other combined ingredients such as molasses and stuff? Well, it's probably because they get BS by other people around them, other professionals that are trying to sell them high-dollar garbage. And this is something I've observed. I always call them the big bucks bullshit. But the elite get victimized by other people around them. And, I look at, say, these two young women here. Would I think that George Soros and Warren Buffett are happier than these young women? Probably not. I'd say almost definitely not. So, once you get on that treadmill and you have the wealth, it's like you have an endless problem forever and ever. It's like you're tied to it. So it's a game and maybe it's an addiction, but it's not necessarily the best thing in the world. They can be very smart in certain areas and piss poor in other areas. And to give you an example, this is something I've always observed. Like the doctors making all kinds of money, giving people chemotherapy and all this wonderful, I hate that stuff, chemotherapy. You have doctors making all this money. Yeah, these aren't even the elite, but say they're like the upper middle class. Make millions of dollars. And, well, you know what? They get victimized a lot of times by financial people, charging them all kinds of money for their accounting, financial instruments they might sell to a person. And maybe they can tank and they can lose a lot of money. Similarly, people in the financial world might gain a lot of money from giving people all kinds of advice, doing all kinds of work for them. And then when they get sick, the medical people take advantage of them left and right, and they, they get all their money at the end of their life, and actually probably don't heal them. They probably send them along their way faster and in much more pain, which is a terrible thing. But it seems that the sharks cut each other's throats too much anyway. So I think the elite actually are not that bright. And, I'm going to give you like one thing. This is my take on things. Say, for instance, George Soros got cancer. If I could talk to that guy, I would tell him, let's use medical marijuana oil. Try it. What do you got to lose? I mean, is it going to hurt you? And say he got cured, he didn't die from cancer, and he's going to live another 20 years, being his old wonderful self again. Well, I would think a guy like that, and if you're talking to him, I mean, like the one thing is you don't want to be a combative with people, and he would more than likely be a proponent of medical marijuana throughout the world. He'd probably get on the bandwagon if it actually saved his own life. And I'm not talking about having like a religious moment or anything like that. I just think the guy doesn't know about it. Now, the other thing is, I'm going to tell you really the threat to the average person is not, it could be from the elite, yes. And I'm not saying they're all a bunch of wonderful people all the time, but actually the biggest threat to the average person comes from each other, the way people treat each other. That's actually a bigger threat. A lot of people ignore that. It's like, yo, the elite, the conspiracy. Oh, yeah. It ain't exactly like that. And, this medical marijuana oil stuff, like, say, for instance, that's like such a bad thing, but if you could probably still get it somehow if you had cancer. There's probably a way to get it and save your life. But, people don't, they tend to just go with the professional BS artists looking for the big bucks. I always blame more of the problem on the average person than I do the elite. the elite share the problem, but actually most of the problem in the world, in all these weird problems they got out there, is with the average person. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this 2012 garbage because I don't really pay attention to it too much and I don't want to waste a lot of time on it. I know a lot of other people don't either. This is from the U.S. Geological Survey site. It was about the New Madrid 1811-1812 earthquake, which was in December, January, and February. It's basically 3 major quakes. And, there could be something with some of this garbage about planetary alignments. I think there was some kind of planetary alignment even around this time, way back when, 101 years ago. Pretty interesting, 101, right? And I don't know, maybe there could even be something, I don't know, some conspirators with secret weapons doing something. But I tend to think there might be something around 1221. And the internet is going to go abuzz with this garbage left and right because the planets lined up. It's the end of the. I don't think there's going to be the end of the world in all this garbage. I definitely don't buy into that garbage. But there could be some kind of event, either man-made or something from planets. Because I think scientists do have a pretty good handle on stuff, but they don't have a handle on everything. And actually, if you look into science deep, or even like going back to archaeology, there's in science and archaeology and in medicine, they have almost like religious cults. It's like they can't say something outside the cult. Like if an archaeologist finds something from 10,000 years ago that looks like it's really made by very smart, advanced civilization, or maybe they use lasers or something to make something, they can't say that because it violates the religious cult. So, there might be some more science to like some Earth problems being caused by this planetary alignment or going through the galactic plane. I don't know. But considering it's only a couple weeks away, we're going to find out fast enough, or whatever. It's going to be in December or January or whatever. I don't even think. Well, if it misses 12/21, it's a miss. But I would just like to state that if it happens, the internet is going to go ballistic with rumors out the yin yang, and I'd imagine if anything serious happens, it's going to be a false flag and a scam. So. One side of the equation, there's the elite against the commoners, I guess you would call it that way. But I never like to look at it like that. Because I think the elite can be dealt with in a lot of ways. And they can be neutralized very easily, too. Very, very easily. Because the elite are not really that smart. They don't have infinite wisdom. They're not that smart. I mean, they might be smart in certain areas or whatever their business was that got them all the money. But they're generally, when you get beyond those areas, they're not that smart. And a lot of times the average person has a lot more knowledge and a lot of more important things than the elite do. But what really clobbers the average person's life more than anything is how they treat each other, and how they interrelate with each other, and how they cooperate with each other. So the average person's biggest enemy is each other. We have met the enemy, and he is ourselves. So, that's my word and update on the elite per se. The elite can be a problem, but they're not necessarily the problem. So, and 1221 might turn out to be something. I don't know. I've been reading some various things. I don't want to get into all the gory details because I don't know. It ain't like I could freaking flip a switch and change it anyway, right? But I figure if something does happen around 1221, oh God, the theories are going to be out there up the yin yang, and those theories are going to be about as dangerous as the event itself, because panicking too much about things is not good. And also worrying about the elite too much is not good. Like pointed out, case in point, how come the elite don't use medical marijuana oil for cancer or for Parkinson's? Is it because they, well, it's probably because some doctor tells them it's bullshit. But you know what? Maybe it ain't bullshit. Maybe it's real. So what's the elite are actually insulated by other people around them that are telling them things because they want a cut of their money, but they don't want competition from real things that can actually benefit the elite even further. You know, I always see this around big money. Yeah, big bucks bullshit. You know, they walk in there, they got their graphs, they got their charts. That's sometimes why I don't like people with graphs. Well, it's not that the charts and graphs are bad, but it's like you could present anything any way there is to grab somebody's money to invest with it. Man, there's a lot of those people around. So, and the doctors also play their game. Oh, we got double-blind studies that says this chemical works the best. Well, you know, you could probably grow a plant that could be a lot better. But the elite aren't aware of these things. Why? 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 I don't know. Tell you the truth, I mean, I wouldn't mind working for George Soros. I'd hook him up with some herbs and stuff like that, and you know, maybe he would start the medical marijuana therapeutic nurses. I'll just put it that way. And you know, since he's a crazy guy that thinks outside the box, you know, I don't mind guys like that too much all the way. Tell you the truth. So, but you know, just to bring it right down to earth, these two women here probably a lot happier than George Soros and Warren Buffett combined, and that's the reality behind it. Our biggest enemy is ourselves. It's no bullshit, really.